Golden Radio Hour.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, a quiz program does not always improve your IQ. But when it's an NBC radio quiz program, you can be sure it will improve your disposition. Yes, NBC offers listeners a laugh session every Wednesday night with 2 fun-filled question and answer shows. One is Truth or Consequences. And though you may never learn why a chicken crosses the road, you'll howl as contestants perform the stunts dreamed up by MC Jack Bailey. The other is You Bet Your Life. And with a quizmaster like Groucho Marx, your good time is always guaranteed. Hear Truth or Consequences and You Bet Your Life tomorrow. Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC. X-1 in 1 minute. This week is Military Reserve Week. If you're a young man between the ages of 17 and 18 and a half, you can fulfill your military obligation with only 6 months of active duty. You need no longer ask yourself, when will I be drafted? By joining the 6-month reserve training program, you become draft exempt and can plan your future with confidence. You are paid for your service while in training. You may be able to pick the exact job you want depending upon your aptitudes and Army vacancies. You may enlist in the program and then receive a deferment until you have finished high school. Your training will teach you to protect yourself and your family in any emergency. The training builds you physically, and the technical skills you learn can help you later in your civilian career. There are many other big advantages for you in the 6-month training program. Visit your Army Reserve Center for all the facts about your big opportunity in the 6-month training program. Learn how you can plan your future with confidence.
The book says, when the ship shall enter into the orbital pool of its destination, the motors will change in sound due to the increased anti-gravity components. A study is being made to interpret the meaning of the word destination, which was lost some 4,000 years ago and has always been a subject for much controversy. But this need not concern you. Suffice to be reassured that the change in the sound of the motors is a part of the scheme of things. Return to the schedule. The ship is all. Praise the ship.
The ship is all. Praise the ship.
Countdown for blast-off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire.
From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X-1.
Tonight, The Sense of Wonder by Milton Lesser.
The huge ship sped endlessly through space on a voyage that had lasted 10,000 years, the journey which had no end. And for those aboard her, there was no other universe. To them, the ship was all. The ship is all. Rykud read the slogan embossed in raised letters of steel outside the door to the priest's compartment. The ship is all. His eyes wandered to the face of the young man standing next to him, his superior, Kreifer. The face had the empty, unquestioning expression that was typical of the people of the ship.
Are you ready, Kreifer?
I am. Enter.
Come in.
Well? I am Kreifer. Superior class, 3rd level, compartment Y51.
Welcome.
This is my attendant, Rykud.
Be welcome. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship.
What is your mission?
My superior's schedule shows that today he is 25 units of age. He is ordered to appear before the priest of the 3rd level to be given a woman.
You have the schedule with you?
Here.
Good. You have your certificate of health and fertility?
Show him the certificate, Rykud. Don't just stand there dreaming.
Oh, yes. Here.
Good. Return to your compartment I will have the matron bring you a woman from the 4th level. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship.
Kreifer returned to his compartment, followed by Rykud. There was no questioning in the mind of either of them. At birth, each of the people was classified as a superior or an attendant, and the coded marking of his schedule was tattooed on his right arm. Both of these young men were 25, strongly built, and tanned from constant exposure to the health rays in the ship's conditioning room. Kreifer wore the loose-fitting robe of a superior. Rykud wore the tight trousers and shirt of an attendant. They entered the comfortably furnished compartment.
Kreifer,
Yes.
what do you suppose she'll be like?
What difference does it make?
Don't you even wonder about it?
I wonder about nothing. The ship is all. Praise the ship.
Well, naturally, but still...
We've been together as superior and attendant ever since the nursery. As an attendant, your entire purpose in life is to keep me alive and productive, to perpetuate the people. I would hate to have to part with you now.
To part with me?
Not of my own choosing, of course, but sometimes I detect what appears to be a strain of unorthodox thinking.
Really? I was not aware of it.
I am not entirely aware of it myself. Not enough for me to report you. However, I must warn you that if it should increase, I will have to send you for therapy.
Well, I assure you there'll be no need for that. I've never deviated from the schedule. I have never disobeyed the buzzer.
I am merely observing, asking questions like, don't you even wonder this is the first step to unorthodoxy?
I shall watch myself for signs of it.
Good. Ah, the eating buzzer.
Your schedule calls for a massive dose of multivitamins.
Fine. Prepare it in the green vegetables today.
Today is a starch day.
Oh, I'd forgotten.
We could just skip it today.
Rykud.
Well...
Of course, skipping the vitamins for one day is a permissible deviation, but I shall have to report for punishment tomorrow.
Well?
Skip the vitamins.
I knew we would. You've never missed a permissible deviation yet.
It's your influence that makes me do it.
And you always blame it on me.
That's what attendants are for.
Yes, I know.
Now, that must be the matron with the woman. Open the door. Maintain the utmost dignity, please.
Yes?
Is this the compartment of Kreifer, 3rd level, Y51?
Yes.
I am matron of the woman's level.
Enter. I am Rykud, Kreifer's attendant. This is Kreifer.
I have brought a mate for you. This is she.
Be welcome. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship.
Her name is Aylin.
Welcome, Aylin.
I am most happy to be here. Praise the ship.
Come. I will show you which compartment is to be ours. This way. There are 5 compartments in this suite, and ours will be this...
Will you take food, matron? Why do you look at me that way?
That mark on your forehead. You have always had such a mark?
Yes.
And you have another diamond-shaped on your right shoulder?
How could you know such a thing?
Your name is Rykud.
Rykud.
How like him you look.
How like whom?
Your father.
My what?
Of course, you could not know the meaning.
What do you say?
When you were born, like any of the people of the ship, you were taken immediately and placed in the nursery of the ship. You never knew who sired you, nor did they know you.
Naturally. It's according to the schedule.
Yes, it's according to the schedule.
I have a strange feeling toward you. I can't explain it.
What sort of feeling, Rykud?
As if we've met before. But that's impossible, of course.
Yes. Still, there have been cases, it is almost heresy to mention it, where a mother has been able to keep her child for a while.
Such a female would be turned over to the control chief and fed into the converter.
If she were discovered.
It is a criminal thing to do. It is said to warp the child so that he becomes a heretic at an early age.
Yes, it is very, very criminal.
Still, you say there have been cases?
Once there was a woman, it is said, an attendant, who managed to conceal such a child behind one of the forbidden doors for almost 3 years.
Behind the doors? It's unspeakable.
Very likely only a rumor.
It's shocking to hear of such things. Behind the forbidden doors.
You're shocked, and yet something seems to stir deep in your memory, perhaps.
Nothing.
You're certain?
Why do you speak to me thus, woman?
Come closer.
What is it?
Closer. Where there's no chance that we'll be overheard.
Well?
Rykud, you are that child.
I will not listen. I will not listen.
You are that child.
How could you know such a thing?
I am 70 units of age. 25 units ago, I was a matron of the nursery. This person came to me and told me of her child, which she had concealed in the space lock behind the forbidden door. She begged me to take it and place it in the nursery with the other children. I had been her attendant for many years, and we were close to each other. I did as she asked.
But are you certain this child was me?
I remember the marks upon it.
And I am doomed.
Why doomed?
I have known my own parent. This accounts for the strange feelings that come over me sometimes.
What feelings are those?
A feeling... a sense of wonder.
Ah.
You seem pleased.
Rykud.
What?
Your superior returns. I cannot speak. But if you would satisfy this sense of wonder, I have a book which I will give you.
I cannot accept a book without the supervision of the ship's librarian.
Take this one. Keep it concealed. Here. Take it quickly. They're coming.
Well, what are you two whispering about?
I was merely explaining to your attendant how he must behave in the presence of your mate.
There is no need to explain. All is scheduled. Nothing is questioned. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship. I hope that your union will produce the optimum number of children. I leave now.
Aylin.
Yes, Chrysler.
Your duties will be very simple. Rykud will teach you how to prepare my meals, and you will memorize my schedule. In 3 months, he will be freed from service as my attendant, and he will report to the second level to find a mate in the attendant class.
Yes, Chrysler.
It's time for my health treatment. Teacher Rykud.
Yes, Chrysler. Come here. Closer, where I may examine you. This is Chrysler's schedule. You will memorize it.
Yes.
Here is a list of permissible deviations.
Oh, I am familiar with it, naturally.
I see. I was not aware of what training you received on the women's level.
The matron trained us well.
Good. You have been with the matron a long time?
Ever since I left the nursery.
I see. What is she called?
Mara.
Mara? Tell me, did she ever speak to you of a sense of wonder?
Are you of the control police?
Certainly not.
Then you should know better than to discuss feelings.
I'm sorry. I thought perhaps...
What's that?
The change bell. There has been some change.
It frightens me. Oh, what does it mean?
I don't know. I heard it only once before. When the ship passed very close to a red planet, there was a shower of stars, and the ship seemed to shake, and the change bell rang. We were all summoned to the priest and told that we must undergo a test for radioactivity.
What are we to do now?
Rykud, Aylin, quickly. It is the change bell. We are all summoned to the priest of our level. Quickly!
Within a few moments, the people of the third level of the ship were assembled in the area outside the compartment of Chul, the priest. They stood there trembling, listening, and panicked to the clangor of the change bell, not daring to wonder what it meant, but aware that something different had happened. Something different.
I'm frightened.
Hush! The priest is coming.
The ship is all. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship.
Listen to Chul, your priest. I have just been in contact with the chief priest of the ship. This is what I have been given to say. For 10,000 years now, ever since the ship began the voyage, which has no end, we have lived as one people following the schedule. In those years, the change bell has rung only twice. On one occasion, it was to announce a change in the schedule for the preservation of the people of the ship following the epidemic. On another occasion, the ship passed close to a radioactive explosion, and it was feared that we had become dangerously activated. Now the change bell has rung again. You wish to know the reason, naturally. I am given to tell you there has been a change in the sound of the motor. There is no cause for alarm. The priests have consulted the book, which no man may see save the high priest. And we have learned that there is in the book a provision for a change in the sound of the motors. The book says, when the ship shall enter into the orbital pool of its destination, the motors will change in sound due to the increased anti-gravity components. A study is being made to interpret the meaning of the word destination, which was lost some 4,000 years ago and has always been a subject for much controversy. But this need not concern you. Suffice to be reassured that the change in the sound of the motors is a part of the scheme of things. Return to the schedule. The ship is all. Praise the ship.
The ship is all. Praise the ship.
On his way back to his compartment, Rykud stopped for a moment in front of the forbidden door which led to no one knew what, and listened to the sound of the motors. Yes, it was true. There was a new sound. It was frightening, and yet at the same time it made Rykud's heart leap with expectation. He looked at the forbidden door again and read the warning.
No unauthorized persons permitted through this door.
Attendant?
Yes.
What's your name and compartment?
Rykud, attendant to Kryfer, third level, Y51. Who are you?
Graf, control police. Why do you loiter outside the forbidden door?
I was merely reading the warning, trying to impress it upon my brain.
Is there a need to impress it? You have doubts?
Well, no, of course not.
Then why bother to impress it? If you have no doubts, there is no need to impress it.
Well, I was merely... You see, I am engaged in the training of a mate for my superior. I wish to make certain that she knows every jot and line of the warning.
Has she doubts?
I'm sure she does not.
Then why impress the warning upon her? It should be sufficiently impressed upon her since birth.
I was merely...
You were merely loitering, eh? Tell me, Rykud, do you ever wonder what is behind the forbidden door?
Never.
Are you perfectly content?
Perfectly.
Good. I'm going to enter your name in my report as a warning. See that it is not repeated.
I will see.
Return to your compartment.
I will return. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship.
Rykud went back to his own compartment. He tried to push the events of the day out of his mind. It was almost too much to cope with. First, the mate for Kryper, then the news of his birth, now the change in the sound of the motors, and the book. Rykud lay inside his bunk, drew the curtain, and took the tiny, ancient plastic book from his trouser belt. He opened it and began to read.
It was thought advisable to keep from the passengers on the ship the fact that their voyage might end in catastrophe. Forced to leave the Earth because of its radioactivity following the 3 wars, the inhabitants of the ship, to all intents and purposes, became the inhabitants of a new world. The ship was their world. The organizers of the expedition felt it would be cruel to inform them that the ship's navigation machinery had been set in a series of ever-increasing circles and then ever-decreasing circles, so that in 10,000 years the ship would return to Earth. There was the possibility that Earth would no longer exist, or that the radioactivity would have made it uninhabitable, even if the remaining humans hadn't managed to explode it. Therefore, the ship became all. Even the word destination was eliminated. If it were known that I had chronicled this account, I would most certainly be executed and the book destroyed. Most likely it will pass into legend and be disbelieved anyway, just as fairy tales and even biblical accounts have become tolerated but disbelieved by many who were...
The sleep buzzer sounded, and Rykud's eyes closed automatically. Ordinarily, the people of the ship did not dream. It was considered a sign that therapy was needed. Tonight, Rykud dreamed.
Rise. Dress. Eat.
Raise the ship.
Rise. Eat. Dress.
The ship is all.
Rykud.
No.
Rykud.
What? Shh. What is it?
You've been dreaming. I heard you and came in to see what was troubling you.
Where's Kryfer?
He sleeps like the dead.
I was dreaming. Ellen, look at me and tell me the truth. Do you ever dream? Do you?
Yes.
I knew it. I could tell it by looking at your eyes.
But you mustn't tell anyone.
I won't. You were very close to the matron, were you not?
Yes.
Did she ever read to you?
Read?
Did she ever read from this?
Where did you get that?
She gave it to me.
Then you must be one of the trusted ones.
Who are the trusted ones?
Some of us, the women who were with the matron since we were very small. We've been trusted by her to hear the reading of this book.
I see.
But if anyone found out...
I know.
Rykud?
Yes?
I feel very strange.
I, too.
What is it?
I don't know.
Sometimes, after the matron had read to us from the book, I would have this feeling, strange and frightened. And she would comfort us.
Comfort? What does that mean?
She would put her arms around us.
And did that comfort you?
Yes.
How terribly strange.
Rykud,
Yes?
comfort me. Put your arms around me.
Helen.
Please, will you?
Yes. Yes, yes.
On the following morning, when Kreifer went to the conditioning room, as prescribed by the buzzer, Rykud drew Aylin over to the spaceport and slid aside the protective shield.
Look.
I am looking.
Tell me what you see.
I see the stars and space.
Look closely. Do you see nothing unusual?
I so seldom look through the spaceport.
I'll tell you then. Look there. See that one star, so big and so bright that it hurts your eyes?
Well?
I've been watching it. It is growing larger each hour.
Stars do that.
Never has one been this large.
What difference does it make? The stars exist only as pictures in the glass of the viewport. They're not real. The ship is all.
That is what we are told, but perhaps it isn't true.
What?
Perhaps these stars do not exist only in the glass of the viewport. Perhaps they exist beyond the viewport.
I don't understand.
Let me say it this way once and forever. Perhaps, Aylin, the ship is not all.
Rykud, your heresy frightens me. Rykud, hold me close. It frightens me even to look at you. Oh, Rykud, you mustn't even think it.
I do think it. I believe it. I believe the ship is not all.
And I believe you are a candidate for the converter.
Kreifer.
Don't move, Rykud, or I'll blast you into dust. It is bad enough for an attendant even to touch his superior's mate, but to couple it with the ultimate heresy. There is nothing but death in this.
Kreifer, I beg of you.
Stand aside, Aylin. I'm going to finish this heretic. Now, Rykud.
Have I killed him?
No, he's just stunned.
Oh, Rykud, what can we do?
I don't know.
Rykud, the change bell again. Something's happening.
I know what has happened. Come, we'll go to the priest.
What about Kreifer? He'll have us killed.
No, it's too late to think of that. Come. Come, Aylin. Stand close to me. The priest is entering.
Silence! Once again, the change bell has sounded. There has been another change. Doubtless you all felt the shock and the vibration a moment ago. I am informed that the motors have stopped. Silence! However, once again, there is no need for any panic or alarm. We will continue to live our lives just as before. The only thing that has changed is that the motors have stopped and that the view in the viewports has changed. Behold. The view in the viewports has been changed from the stars to a garden. That is all there is to it. The book makes mention of the fact that the view in the viewports is changeable. Go back to your compartments and resume the schedule. The buzzer will be your guide as always. The ship is all.
The ship is all.
Wait! No, I have something to say. Listen, this is what I have to say. The ship is no longer all.
Seize him!
Keep back! I have my superior's ray gun. I will destroy any who move to seize me. Listen to what I have to say. The view in the viewports is not just a garden. It is the destination. It is the earth. Don't you understand me? We have arrived. We have reached the destination. The journey is over. We can leave the ship and go out into the garden. Fools, can't you understand? Watch the viewport. Watch it. The viewport is broken. I've shattered it. You can go out. Feel the air rush in. Smell its fragrance.
Rykud, they don't move. They don't understand.
Seize him! Kill the heretic! Kill him!
Rykud, they're moving toward us.
Run. Follow me quickly.
After him! Death to the heretic!
Reichert and Aylin ran down the long steel corridor with the crowd on their heels. After a few moments, they came to the forbidden door of the control room.
Aylin, quick, in here.
Reichert, it's forbidden.
I'll have to blast the lock. Quickly, now come. Now, help me close the door. Now the bar. We're safe in here for a while. Not even the priest can make them come in here after us. It'll take them time to figure out what to do.
I could look. Look at the machinery. It's frightening.
We're in the control room. It tells about it in the book. You see this big machine here? There was a drawing in the book. This is the machine that controls the buzzer.
Just a simple machine like that?
Yes, a simple machine. Stand back.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to smash it. Now they're going to have to find a way to live without the buzzer.
Reichert, they're breaking down the door.
Come with me.
Where can we go? There's nothing except the ship.
No, there is more than the ship now, Aylin. There's the Earth. The cool green Earth. I'm going to smash the viewport. Come on. We're going to leave the ship.
Reichert, I'm frightened. Put your arms around me.
There's nothing to be afraid of. Come, Aylin. Take my hand. Here is the Earth. And it is ours.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features a story by F.L. Wallace titled Mesereau Loves Company. When Marcus Mesereau set out on his mission to Earth, he was driven by pride and indignation, plus a practical reason. But if he'd known what lay ahead, he might have decided to let bad enough alone. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you The Sense of Wonder, based on a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Milton Lesser and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were James Monks, Bill Quinn, Edwin Jerome, Vera Allen, Rita Lloyd, Joe DeSantis, and Dick Hamilton. Raymond Edward Johnson was the narrator. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Now, stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast-off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire.
From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, the Frank Quattrocchi story, Sea Legs.
I stood in line at the Grav 1 desk with the old notch service record and tapes in my hand and waited for the board processing clerk to speak. The clerk seemed utterly indifferent to the excitement of the men in the line. I wondered how long he'd been out here on this godforsaken Zone 5 planet.
Next. Name?
Robert Craig.
Occupation?
Flight officer.
Destination?
Earth.
Earth?
Anything wrong with that?
Well, I guess not. How long since you've been on Earth, Mr. Craig?
Well, I've never been there. My parents left during the second colonization of Cassiopeia. I was born there.
Have you ever been in a gravity system?
Oh, just briefly. Under drugs, of course.
You'll have to go through the gravity conditioning course.
Yes, so I was told.
Proceed to the airlock chamber on your right and follow the robot's orders. Good luck. You may need it. Next.
I went into the chamber and stripped off my clothing while the robot droned its orders.
Remove all metal objects from your person. Place them in the plastic tube at your left. Now stand underneath the decontamination tube. Depress the button with your right foot. This is all. Proceed through the green door to the psychometric section. Please respond quickly to orders, and so to not impede the progress of others. Next, please.
The door to the psychometric section led into a pleasant but cold-looking room with a single metal desk. A man with a balding, high forehead sat behind the desk.
Mr. Craig, have a seat. I'm Captain Wyandotte, the psychological officer.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, well, let's see your records. You list your destination as Terra. You're certain you wish to go to Earth?
Of course I'm certain.
You're somewhat aggressive, Mr. Craig.
Look, I've been standing in line taking orders from clerks and robots for 6 hours. Every time somebody sees that I'm headed for Earth, I get the fisheye. Are they jealous or what?
I hardly think so. You've been a spaceman for 16 years, Mr. Craig. You've been zooming around in the countergraph systems in the outer galaxies without any restraints or self-discipline.
Have you ever spent 6 weeks strapped into a grav seat on a space rocket, Captain? There's a good deal of self-discipline involved in that.
I think you will find things on Terra require a different kind of self-discipline, Mr. Craig.
Well, I'm pretty much aware of what it's like.
Are you? I suppose you've heard all the popularizations in the tapezines. Well, Mr. Craig, let me give you a word of caution. It's going to be vastly different.
I'm prepared for that, Captain. Can we get going?
Naturally. You will undergo a 20-day conditioning course.
20 days?
Mr. Craig, you've been in space 16 years. Your body is conditioned to a normal state of free fall, or at best to acceleration. The return to gravity would kill you if you weren't prepared for it.
All right, what do I do?
Report to Centrifugal Department. Here are your papers. Oh, and Mr. Craig.
Yes?
Centrifugal is a rather trying ordeal. If during the course of treatment you should change your mind about returning to Earth, you're free to do so.
Thanks. I won't. I'd heard about centrifugal, but you can never really know about these things until you experience them. 4 times a day we were whirled around until it seemed as if our insides were too big for our bodies. On the 12th day, it got to be too much for me. I was in the base hospital for 5 days. My roommate was an old space bum they'd brought in to die with a case of ruptured veins. His name was Charlie Brockman.
How you feel, son?
I'm pretty good, Charlie.
You get discharged tomorrow, I hear. You gonna try it again?
I guess so.
Why?
Only way I'll ever get to Earth.
You really want to go?
That's right.
You talked to anybody been there last 10 years or so?
No, you don't get to talk to many people from Earth and the galaxies. Were you ever there?
Me? Now, what would an old space bum like me be doing on Terra?
Well, I just thought maybe...
I done most of my time in Zone 5. Out there, you get to thinking anybody who stays less than 80 light years from Earth is a landlubber.
Yeah, I used to think the same. Then I took the exam for a job back on Earth, and I passed it.
I used to think I'd like to go back. But space was exciting, you know. New and raw. It tugged at your guts, and it sent the blood rushing through your veins. But it was free. No bureaucrat ever lasted 6 months in Grav 5.
I had enough hitting atmospheres all over the universe, old man.
Maybe you're right. Lean over here, will you?
Sure.
Unbutton my pajama top, will you?
Okay.
There's a chain around my neck. Got a little message capsule on it.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Do me a favor, huh? Take it with you when you go back to Terra. Don't open it till you're on the ship.
Okay, Charlie.
And, son.
Yes?
I lied to you. I have been back to Terra. I faked some papers and made a landing there 6 months ago.
What are you doing back here?
I had to leave in a hurry.
Why?
You'll find out, son. Good luck.
Charlie died the next day. A few hours later, I was visited by Captain Wyandotte, the psych officer.
How are you feeling, Craig?
Okay.
You still want to go back to Earth?
Yes.
You're completely sure you want to live out your life there, to give up space service for it?
Look, we've gone through this, Captain. Now, you tell me that spacemen don't settle down on Terra, yet you won't or you can't tell me why. All right, what's the pitch? Does the Space Service need men so badly that they have to make it impossible for us to go back?
That, Mr. Craig, you will have to discover for yourself. You have my authorization to complete your conditioning and return to Earth as a private citizen. I wish you luck. You'll need all you can get.
Somehow I managed to survive the torments for 18 days. I was ready to return to Earth. A month later, I descended from a huge intergalactic jet at Los Angeles Spaceport. I was dead tired from the trip. I checked in at the nearest inexpensive hotel.
This is your room, sir.
Just put the bags down, will you? I'll unpack myself.
Yes, sir. Just back from outer space, sir?
Yeah, that's right. How could you tell?
Sea legs.
Sea legs?
Well, the way you walk. You can tell when somebody's been in the low-grav systems.
Oh, well, here.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Craig. For another 5 units, I'll tell you where it is.
Where what is?
You know, the mic.
Mic?
Okay, make it 3 units. I won't hold you up.
You mean a microphone?
Yeah, that's right. They wanted to put screens in, but the boss convinced him there ain't any Freedomites ever stay here.
Freedomites?
Not so loud. You want to get controlled?
No. Here's the money. Where is it?
It's in the bed illuminator. You can short it with a razor blade.
Thanks.
You, want any sensation tapes?
What are they?
You know, mental image. Oh, boy, you've been away from Terra a long time.
Wait a minute, before you go, son.
Yeah?
Where's the minerals building? I have to report there for a job interview.
Oh, it's in the government cluster. 5th level at X and 2nd.
Thanks. I'll want breakfast about 8 o'clock.
Well, I'll need your ISS units.
My what?
Your ration units.
I don't have any ration units.
You have your ident card?
Look, I just got here an hour ago.
Oh. Well, you better go see the Civil Control Board tomorrow. If you want to eat, that is.
All right, where do I find the control board?
Government cluster. But don't worry. If you don't find them, they'll find you. I went to sleep that night with the uneasy feeling that somebody was watching me. It had been a weird day. I hadn't exactly liked it. Well, I told myself it figured that there'd be more formalities and rigmarole on Earth than there were out in the systems, especially at first. Still, I couldn't get the idea of the concealed microphone out of my mind.
You may relax, Mr. Craig. You are Mr. Craig?
Yes, Robert Craig.
You aren't nervous, are you?
No. This is my first time before the control board, and, well, it's my first time.
Flight officer, huh? Somewhat unusual for a vigorous young man like yourself abandoning space service, isn't it?
I don't know. Is it?
Leaving something behind, Mr. Craig?
No.
You don't like this sort of affair, do you, Mr. Craig?
Well, I'm afraid I don't quite see its necessity. I served the intergalactic service well. My records prove it.
It's enough impertinence, Mr. Craig. Answer the questions. You are a Terran?
Yes.
Where are your loyalties?
I don't understand.
Your first loyalties are to Intergalactic, is that right?
Is there a distinction?
Do you wish to be held in contempt of this board?
Of course not.
And you will confine your responses to simple yes answers. Now, Mr. Craig, we shall begin again. Please try to show restraint of emotion. You are here to petition for an identity card of provisional code 2 type. You maintain that you've never been on Terra before. Indeed, you state that you've never had a political affiliation.
Yes.
What are your reactions to the latest acts of the Liberal Party?
I have none.
You do not condemn the Liberal Party?
Well,
Then you must favor it.
I don't know anything about it.
Now then, Mr. Craig. The Import Service report shows that you passed your test aboard your ship. You were unable to accomplish this through night study.
Yes.
Yet you maintain in your application that you had considered the Space Service a career.
I changed my mind.
Oh, you changed your mind. I see. I see, too, that you've petitioned the board for a private means of conveyance. Why do you wish to own your own transportation vehicle?
To make it easier to get around, I report to my job and...
What job?
I passed the exam for the Import Service. I report today.
Where are you living, Mr. Craig?
At the Star Hotel.
Very well. You'll wait outside in the waiting room until you're called again.
I waited about 2 hours in the porcelainized waiting room of the Civil Control Board. Then I was called over to the clerk's desk at a small window. He stamped some cards for me.
Craig.
Here.
Here's your stuff. Class 1 provisional ident card. Sign it and fingerprint it. Don't lose it. If you do, you'll be picked up by the control agents.
I petitioned for a Class 2 card.
You'll get a Class 1. This entitles you to maintain an apartment in the lower level of the Beverly Project. Here's your clothing ration. You'll have to turn in that leather flight jacket.
What? No, wait a minute. I had this made on Chuan. Listen, I can remove the insignia.
That is not the point. Your clothing ration is defined by law. There are no exceptions. This is your food ration.
What's all this medical stuff on the card?
You are rationed fairly in accordance with your particular metabolism.
Oh, you're kidding.
I do not kid, Mr. Craig.
Well, what about a car? I asked to be allowed to buy a car.
Let's see. Your petition to be permitted to purchase a private means of transportation is hereby denied.
I walked out of the control board feeling like a man who has just come out of free fall into a hypergravity system. Instead of reporting to the Import Service for my initial job interview, I walked around the city. I don't know how long I walked, maybe an hour, maybe 2. After a while, I came to the outskirts of old Los Angeles. There was a big fence around it and the usual signs. Radioactivity. Beware. It was just a pile of rubble and twisted girders. I looked at it for a while and then turned around and headed for the Intergalactic Freight Office.
So you figure you made a mistake.
Yeah, that's right. You don't hear much about Terra out there.
And you want me to sign you back into Intergalactic?
Yes.
You got any character references?
No, not here on Earth, but I can post a good-sized bond if they'll release my ISS units.
What's your rating?
I can handle anything up to 15 G's acceleration on my old license.
You got a Terran contract with Import Service, you said?
I haven't started work yet.
Look, kid. Mr. Craig, is it? How long you been on Earth?
2 days.
So you're a spaceman. Flight officer, ex-flight officer. You know how to navigate through 4-star zones and the asteroid belt thrown in. You got a license for 15 G's, could get 5 more with a check flight. You got enough brains to pass the import senior rooters exam. But you ain't got enough sense to come in out of the rain. We get guys like you every day. You're hot, you're big, you're raring to go. But you ain't gone nowhere.
I'm listening.
I don't know how you got here, Craig. Maybe you did quit honorable, or maybe you went and burned up a colony someplace.
That would be in my records.
The point is, it don't make any difference. Nobody leaves Terra without a permit. Nobody gets a permit to go back to space once he hits this old apple.
Why not? They afraid somebody will tell what it's like?
Oh, son, you got things to learn. One is you don't go shooting off your mouth. Another is Terra's changed a lot since the radioactive wars. We're going places, doing things. Big places, big things. You've got to fit into that, kid. Move with it. Stick around. You still got your sea legs. You're gonna like it here. You can make a quick dollar and spend it quick, too. But you'd better smarten up, or you'll finish scrubbing radioactive dust off girders.
That's the story, huh? The whole story?
That's it. Everything runs by a system. And, son, you can't buck the system.
Yeah. I don't suppose there's any place around here a guy could get a quick drink.
Oh, yeah, out at the end of Y Street, they got a little place you can buy in Acadian tars. Pluto's, they call it.
Thanks.
Yeah, get it out of your system and then settle down. That's my advice.
Thanks. So long.
Get me the control agent. He just left here. He's on his way to the Pluto Cafe.
Hey, waiter. Waiter, bring me another drink for the young lady. Wow. Now then, where were we?
Well, I don't know. In fact, I still don't know why you're buying me free drinks.
I told you I want somebody to talk to.
You a purist? Or maybe you don't like the brand of sensation tapes they're peddling these days.
You know, you don't have a bad face, really, underneath the makeup. I mean, it's a little crooked, but it ain't bad, really.
Thanks. Does me pretty good.
Well, what's your name?
Gloria.
Oh, sure. Sure, I remember. Gloria!
Maybe you had enough to drink.
No, not yet. You know, I look around, I see all these people with their faces all froze up like plastic. And I feel like I got to know somebody, or I go out of my mind. So what happens? Everybody is afraid. I mean, what happened? Whatever happened to freedom? What's the matter? Did I say something? What's everybody so quiet about all of a sudden?
Okay. Come with me.
Hey, well, who are you?
Control board agent.
Hey, I wasn't with him. Honest, he just picked me up and bought me a drink and started shooting off his mouth. I wasn't with him.
Let's go, Mac.
Wait a minute, what for?
You'll find that out. Come on. On your feet.
Okay, come on, keep your hands off. I'll go with you.
Everybody else, just mind your own business. You, girlie.
Yeah?
Let's see your ident card.
Here.
You live at this address?
Yeah?
Alone?
With my sister.
Maybe some night you could go to a movie or something. We could spend some time getting acquainted.
Yeah. Yeah, sometime.
Good, I'll call you.
Hey, I need my ident card back. I can't get rations without it.
I'll keep it. Bring it back myself.
Why don't you give the girl her card? No!
Or maybe you mind your own business. Let's go. You walk just a little in front of me.
He was a big man, maybe 250 pounds, and he shuffled when he walked. He'd hit me right across the right shoulder with a sort of rubber truncheon. Now it began to ache. We're walking along a sort of back street. Everywhere in the universe there were such streets. Streets where you could find freedom in anonymity, a compromise between lawlessness and law. They are permitted by the authorities because it is necessary to have a place for those who are not permitted elsewhere.
Okay, step into the doorway. Hurry up, you fool. We're being followed.
Well, we're followed by whom?
Don't ask questions. Who's you told?
Don't I have any rights?
You got the right to get hit over the head unless you do what you're told. Now, quick. Hey, come in. In here. Hurry.
Hey, who are they shooting at, you or me?
Both of us. Down these steps.
Stop! Stop or we'll fire!
Through this door. Now, duck behind that pillar. Don't make a sound.
You see them?
Not a trace.
Come on, they probably slipped out.
Walk through the tunnel behind you. One false move and you're finished. Go on.
From the direction of the tunnel, I guessed it was part of an old sewage system that led toward the ruined city. I don't know how long we walked, maybe an hour. Finally, we came to a small wooden door.
Stop here. Okay, let's have it.
What? Have what?
The tube.
I don't know what you mean.
Our detectives picked it up on you the minute you got off the plane.
You're carrying a radioactive message tube with a periodic emission signal. I'll need to have it before we can go any further.
You mean the tube that old Charlie gave me?
Old Charlie?
Yes, Charlie Brockman. The old spaceman who was in the hospital with me.
Where is it?
I think it's in my pocket. I never even bothered to open it.
Do it now.
Let me see. Oh, yeah, here it is.
Open it.
It's empty.
That's right. The message is in the tube itself. We identify our people by the radioactive pattern.
Our people?
You'll see.
Come in. Make it fast. This the one?
This is the one.
Has he been drugged?
He's had PON. A massive dose at the Pluto.
Good. Mr. Craig, my name's Cocteau. This is Mr. Brannigan. You're probably quite bewildered about all this. Let me clarify the situation. You're now in the headquarters of the Freedomites, underneath the radioactive part of old Los Angeles. Mr. Brannigan is not a control agent. He's one of our men. We've been watching you ever since we detected the message tube as your ship was approaching Earth.
Now, wait a minute. You guys are Freedomites?
That's right.
You're pretty illegal, aren't you?
Let's say our lives aren't worth a snap of your fingers if we're caught.
All right, who are you? Where are you from?
Most of us are from the same place you're from, outer space. Many of us had the same history you have. We shipped into Earth and became disillusioned and went to the intergalactic freight office to apply for a job. The man at the office, the man who made the speech about coming in out of the rain, is one of our agents.
Aren't you taking a chance telling me all this?
Not at all. At the Pluto, you were given a massive dose of PON. You won't remember anything that happened to you after the drug hits you in an hour or so. It works like a shock. Everything will be repressed into the unconscious.
Oh, I see. Very neat.
It will exist in your unconscious, however. Somewhere, because you're the kind of man you are, because living in space has taught you the blessing of feeling free, you'll be able to draw upon your unconscious knowledge when you need to.
And when will that be, Mr. Cocteau?
That depends on whether you decide to join us or not.
Join you in what? I haven't the faintest idea of what you're trying to do. For all I know, you're a bunch of traitors. You know, I've heard this comes the revolution stuff before.
My friend, you're woefully ignorant of our aims, as is to be expected. We anticipate no revolution. We print no leaflets, publish no newspaper, and we have no world plan for conquest. The kind of totalitarian mind which subscribes to tight economic systems like the ancient Marxism of the communists is abhorrent to us. We're interested in only one thing, the preservation of the idea of freedom. Our fear is that men will forget what it's like to feel free.
Well, how do you expect to accomplish this?
Our concepts are being kept alive in only one place in the universe today.
Outer space?
Exactly. On the frontiers of the universe, where freedom is a condition of life and growth.
Suppose I join you. How can I help?
You're an experienced pilot. We have enough connections to do some plastic surgery on your face and get you a position piloting a spaceship again. You'll remember nothing of your mission, but you will remember that you have been back to Earth, what it was like. You'll be able, carefully, of course, to tell people, to help keep the idea of freedom alive. Think it over carefully. You have 20 minutes before the drug takes effect.
I don't need 20 minutes. I'll do it.
Good. In exactly 48 hours, you'll wake up in your hotel bed with a new face, the identity card of a man named Harold Janus. You'll not remember how you got them or why, but you'll know what to do with his identity. He is, or was, master navigator on the Earth-Mars run. Good luck, Mr. Craig.
I woke up in the hotel bed, feeling like a man who has hung one on but good. I looked into the mirror and I saw the face of another man. I looked in my wallet and discovered that I was Harold Janus, navigator for Intergalactic, holder of a license for 15 Gs. I wondered where it came from, how I got it, but I asked no questions. This license, this ident card, meant freedom.
I walked out of the hotel feeling steady for the first time. I'd gotten my sea legs at last.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features The Venus Trap by Evelyn E. Smith. One thing man never planned to take along into space with him was the eternal triangle, especially a true blue triangle like this one. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Sea Legs, a story from the pages of Galaxy, written by Frank Petrocchi and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were William Redfield, James Stevens, Stan Early, Charles Penman, James Dukas, Richard Hamilton, Jack Orison, Jack Grimes, Craig McDonald, Ralph Bell, Kermit Murdoch, and Frederica Chandler. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Hear politics and primaries, Dateline, Ohio, and Indiana, tonight on NBC Radio.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe.